Hi, so now we'll set up our leather shader for the interior pieces like the the seats, uh, etc., and the chrome shader for the rims. Okay. For this, we'll just use the principal shader, and we'll talk a little about how nicely developed the shader itself, the principal shader is. It's So for the leather, there's a few ways we could do this. We could create our own procedural pattern, but in this instance, I'm going to use textures. One for the base color and one for the roughness, and also some minor displacement. Okay, so if we jump into our textures folder, there's a leather folder here, and we'll quickly use these texture files that I've already prepared beforehand. I think the scale is fine. Just the displacement might be too strong, so we'll bring this down to like 0.001 perhaps. Let's try that. So leather usually is pretty rough. The reflections are pretty rough. They're not bright. They're dim, and reference is key as always. So we'll kill some of the reflectivity. Add a little bit of tint. Everything else is okay. And as usual, I've already gone ahead and isolated just the other small interior pieces. That's why we see just these pieces here. So now if we do a quick test render and see what we have and see if we need to tweak anything. I think for the base color, I'll increase the tint intensity ever so slightly, just so that we have more of the color of the texture coming through. There's another way you can do this, but that's more of a global, has a global effect. So if we went into our mantra node in our limits, we could up the diffuse limit. This is a bit of a global control, so just leave this thing as it is. Okay, now moving on to the rims. So if, as mentioned earlier, look at some reference, and when creating your Chrome shader, we'll up the metallic parameter, have somewhat of a high reflectivity, reduce the roughness. We'd like we're not going to use any displacement, but some of this, and up the direction of the anastrophe that we've applied. Do another quick test render to see where we're at. Always look at reference, just to see what kind of result you're actually aiming for, and to bring it as close to that as you can. Just for the time being, I'll up the pixel samples. So most of these parameters are multipliers. Just talking a little about the sampling parameters and their numbers. So, for example, if I had a 3x3 XY pixel sample setting, I could add a 3 to the min-ray samples, and the end result would have been 9x9. So I'll do a test render of the rims, and I'll be back, and we'll move on to the next clip.